In this series, we're going to be taking a look at 5 of the strangest mysteries from each US state. Each video in this series is going to be from a different state, and I'm not going to go in alphabetical order or anything like that, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss the video from your own state. Now sit back, get comfy in your padded cell, and listen as we take a look at the 5 strangest mysteries from Illinois. The Devil's Stone. In the late 1970s, a married couple from Glen Ellen named Gilbert and Trudy Woods found a strange-looking stone in their backyard with weird etchings on it, which consisted of 2 intertwined serpents. Thinking the stone was interesting looking, they decided to keep it. They quickly came to regret this decision when some strange occurrences began taking place. Soon after unearthing the stone, Trudy began hearing voices and seeing things. She heard an eerie, whispering sound, and one night she saw the silhouette of a figure standing at the foot of her bed. When she turned the light on, nothing was there. Matters progressively got worse when Gilbert had a heart attack. He recovered, but then Trudy suddenly went blind for 3 months. Her eyesight came back, thankfully, but soon after she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Thinking this had something to do with the stone, the couple gave it to their friend. I don't know why you'd give a supposedly cursed rock to someone you consider a friend, but I digress. Not long after receiving this strange slab, their friend also began experiencing some unexplained phenomena. She reported lights in her house turning on and off by themselves, and a bee infestation in the dead of winter. These happenings weren't as drastic as the ones the Woods family experienced, but odd nonetheless. To this day, no one knows where the mysterious terracotta stone is, so be careful where you dig, and if you happen to find a weird rock with snake symbols on it, just simply put it back. The Max Headroom broadcast hijack. On the night of November 22, 1987, after the Chicago Bears had defeated the Detroit Lions 30-10, and the local news at WGN-TV was covering the game in their 9 p.m. slot, there was suddenly an interruption in the broadcast that showed a person wearing a large Max Headroom mask sitting in front of a swiveling metal background. There was no vocal audio, just a loud buzzing noise. This lasted for about 17 seconds, then the engineers at WGN were able to turn the newscast back on. 2 hours later, another local Chicago station, WTTW, was showing Doctor Who and had no one on duty at their tower. The hijackers once again pirated the broadcast with the Max Headroom figures center stage for another round. This time, there was vocal audio, and the masked figure could be heard talking about ads for New Coke, a cartoon called Clutch Cargo, one of the WGN sportscasters, and other random topics. They ended the broadcast with the Max Headroom character getting spanked by a woman with a fly swatter. After a 90-second interruption, the hijackers turned off their broadcast and the television returned to normal programming. The perpetrators or their motives for the strange broadcast have never been revealed. The murder of Jaclyn Dowaliby. On September 10, 1988, 7-year-old Jaclyn Dowaliby of Midlothian was sound asleep in her bedroom when she was suddenly kidnapped and taken from her room. Someone had apparently entered the home through the basement window, grabbed her from her room, carried her past her mother and stepfather's bedroom, and out the front door. The next morning, her mother Cynthia reported her missing. Her stepfather reported the back door being left wide open, though the intruder supposedly broke in through the basement window. Initially, police suspected that her biological father may have abducted her, but that suspicion fell through quickly when it was discovered that he was serving a prison stint in Florida at the time. A week after her disappearance, Jaclyn's body was discovered at an abandoned dump site with a rope around her neck. Her mother and stepfather David were initially arrested and charged with her murder. Cynthia was acquitted for insufficient evidence, but David was sentenced to 45 years until he too was released in 1991 for insufficient evidence. In 1996, a made-for-TV movie was made about this case called Gone in the Night. No one else has ever been arrested for the crime, and this remains a cold case. The Airtight Bridge Murder. Airtight Bridge is located in Coles County, just north of Charleston. It was built in 1914 and supposedly got its name from the unnatural stillness you feel when you cross it. It's often a popular hangout for teenagers to get together, party, drink, and smoke weed as it's surrounded by woods and pretty secluded. On October 19, 1980, a truly shocking discovery was made at this bridge. Two men who were crossing the bridge spotted what they believed to be a dead body near the bridge. As they got closer to it, they realized it was even more gruesome than they initially suspected. The body was that of a woman, but she was missing her head, hands, and feet. Police were unable to identify her. An investigation was conducted, but no killer could be found at the time. She was eventually buried at Charleston's Mound Cemetery under the name Jane Doe. For years, she remained Jane Doe until 1992, 12 years after the discovery of her body. A major breakthrough in the case led to her identity being discovered. Her name was Diana Small. Her husband had never reported her missing because she had reportedly left home unexpectedly on several occasions before, which is rather suspicious in my opinion. Diana's sister, who lived out of state, tried contacting her for the first time in years and learned of her mysterious disappearance, so she's the one who finally reported her missing, thus prompting Jane Doe's identity to finally be traced back to Diana Small. In 2008, her anonymous headstone at her final resting place was replaced by one bearing her name, at long last. In 2017, her husband was finally arrested for her murder and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Not sure why it took so long, but I'm glad Diana finally got some justice. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon. In 1944, most of the world was concerned with little else but the ongoing World War in Europe. But for the small town of Mattoon, Illinois, they had their own problems on a much smaller scale. People were reportedly waking up in the middle of the night to a sweet smell in their home, then suddenly feeling a sense of nausea and then becoming paralyzed for an hour. Some residents of the town reported seeing a man fleeing their homes at the same time they smelled the odd gas aroma. They had begun to suspect that someone might be pumping gas into their homes. 33 people reported experiencing this mysterious gassing incident in the span of 12 days in September 1944. A police investigation did not find any evidence of a man running around town pumping sweet paralyzing gas into everyone's home. Police believed that wind shifts at night had caused fumes from the local war paint factory to seep through cracks in windows. It is widely believed today that the Mad Gasser incident was just a result of mass hysteria and that people had mistaken random bystanders who were curious what all the racket was coming from the homes as the supposed gasser. That's all for today's video. Please hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next entry in this series. And please comment below any other mysteries from Illinois that you feel like I should have covered in this video or that you just find interesting. It's farewell for now, my patients, and I'll see you in the next video.